Hello there my fellow Holotable heroes and welcome to another SWGOH video. Now that we've got 2 weeks of free Grand Arena in the bag, I thought I'm going to do like a mid-season defensive review just to show you some of my best performing teams on defense. Well, when I say best, it's quite relative because it all depends, like if you doesn't mean that if your team doesn't hold a defense, it's bad. Like if your Darth Revan doesn't hold on defense, if your GG doesn't hold on defense, doesn't mean they're bad. It's just that usually people will, take meta teams to take those out. It's more like finding those obscure teams that maybe people are not used to going up against, or they think they can undersize. And especially like make use of your relic teams, because some teams that at gear 12 would be bad, once they're relic they become stronger, and then somebody think, oh, this team doesn't look too scary, okay, they're relic, but they're just taking some gear 12 characters and they might lose. So just very relative, like what's best, what's not. I just want to show you the teams that held some defense for me, as well as were able to do some damage even though they didn't hold on defense, and also show you what teams actually they were able to hold against, because that's quite important rather than just looking at the holds themselves. Now another thing that also comes into consideration was the team that held the defense, or the back or the front, because in the front, if you put heavy teams, they might not have a lot left for the back. And even though your teams at the back are not the strongest, because maybe your opponent already depleted their best teams, they'll try to scramble and find something to beat them. So I don't really want to say these are the best defensive teams for me. It's just the ones that held the most, and that's why I've added here on the right side like what teams actually failed against these teams, just that you get a bit of a context of what was going on here. Now this Finn lead team with both resistance heroes actually is quite a solid defensive team. I place it at the back zone usually, just because on the front maybe they already use their meta teams, but on the back, as you can see, it held 4 times and obviously was defeated 10 times, so that's not bad. And if you look at some of the teams that actually lost against this team, you can see a Grievous team here, Rex clones, somebody tried a mirror match, and then the Bounty Hunters. So these are pretty solid teams that lost against these. Now obviously a lot of, as you can see, 10 times actually this team didn't hold, and out of those 10 times people had to use CLS, Jedi Revan, Darth Revan, or maybe they used Palpatine with Throne and Vader. So those are all strong teams that people had to use to one-shot this team. So as you can see, this is a very strong team. If you have these guys Relict and Zeta, they're quite a good team, as you can see. So moving forward is another resistance team here, and this one too had the same score of 410. And this is one of those things that I mentioned in the beginning. When you look at it, you're like, what? It's just Poe and these two old vets, they won't do much. But once they're relic, they're quite durable. And if you have Zetas on both of these guys, they can hit pretty hard once they get that stacking offense going and penetration and things like that. And people, I think, they just underestimated, because as you can see, some of the teams that lost against these are not top teams. So I think it's just a case of people maybe underestimating the power of this team. So just want to show, these are not heavy teams. So I think people just try to use some weak teams to beat it and they failed. So don't let this team fool you if you see it fully relict. Especially if Poe is fast and he goes before any of your tunes, he can remove turn meter. Then Vedhan here has a stun, ability block, stagger. Chewie can stun as well, and dispel. So this by no means is a team you should take lightly if they are relict. And then you can see, okay, people try to put Rey in, got 49 banners, and Geo's got 49 banners. So I also mentioned these teams that did win, so I didn't get a hold, but they were at least able to kill one character. So in this case, they killed Scavenger, and from this team, they killed Poggle. So, that's a quite good defensive team as well if they're able to take out one character, because 49 banners, if you force your opponent to get 49 banners, that's pretty good. So just worth mentioning that, even with somebody try to use some mid-level teams here as Jedi Training Ray and Geos. You know, it wasn't a clean, easy win. Now next up, I've got the Asajj Ventress Cheese team, and this one actually gave me 2 wins, and it lost 3 times. I think this team is not really hard to beat. It just shows that you need to understand what team to go and take this team in, because somebody put in Rex, 5 and Watt. That's very good characters, but there are no AoEs. So once obviously Acolyte goes into stealth, they were able to kill Asajj, but they just could not get rid of Acolyte and Zombie. So it just shows while this team is not that great actually on defense, you know, you can always catch people off guard when they kind of forget. It happened to me as well a couple of times, you know, throughout all these seasons, that you just forget that you need to bring in an AoE or somebody that has a mass dispel that can bring Acolyte out of stealth. And then another team that failed here was Kira, Nest, and L3. So next up here, we got Padme. So I had Padme, Anakin, and Kenobi. Now, as you can see, this team did hold twice, and both against Darth Revan. So somebody was again underestimating this Padme team. They think that, oh, I'll just take in Darth Revan and Malak, and I'll underdog these guys, or I'll take Revan and, you know, Marauder and HK, and I will just burn through his team. So, you know, again, it's, I think, just a case of underestimating the power of team in 3v3. Otherwise, this team is not all that scary. Like Padme in 5v5 is much harder than in 3v3 because, you know, you don't have Ahsoka here assisting or 3PO and things like that. It's just the 3 of them, so that's much easier to control. And then as well, you know, as you can see, people they put in gas against it, and again got 50 banners. They actually took out 5s there. Well, they probably took out Rex and then 5 sacrificed. So again, you know, it's quite a strong team if you want to put it, especially I think I like to put it on the front wall. And then we have another version of Asajj team, so just trying to figure out, you know, a little bit testing out different Night Sister combos here. So this one too, so we got instead of Acolyte I used Daka there, so it did hold 2 times as well, but again, as you can see, people just, you know, this team was on the back wall, and I think people just didn't have much left and were just trying out to do something. So I think these Night Sister teams, they're not that challenging, but they're a good back wall zone where maybe people don't have everything left, so they can catch somebody off guard, as it did 2 of my opponents. Right, so another Night Sister team here, Talzin. It held against the Bounty Hunter team there, and as well, you know, killed BB-8 there from that team. So again, you know, playing out around with different Night Sister teams, you know, they did get a hold. Somebody thought, you know, I'll just walk in with my Mando and start, you know, one-shotting, but yeah. All right, next one, Hux here. Didn't have that much success, only 1 defensive hold here. But, you know, sometimes all you need is 1 to get a win, and it was actually against Shakti, which is surprising because Shakti and clones are quite strong. So to be able to see this, you know, was quite impressive. And as well against Rey, they took out Scavenger there. So again, you know, it wasn't a high banner win. So while this is not an amazing defensive team, you know, I did see on those 6 times that they did lose, people were taking strong teams against these guys. They were putting CLS, Jedi Luke, Jedi Revan, and things like that. So, you know, this team is not to be taken lightly. Now this one here, Powell. So I used the Geo Brood with him and Rodeka. I just got 1 hold against, you know, Kira team here, which is not too powerful. But if you look at it, it did cause trouble to some of the teams. Right? Somebody went in with their Sith Eternal Emperor and lost both Maul and Marauder. So you only had the Sith Eternal left standing. Because my Droideka, he's relic, then, you know, he can easily one-shot people. Same here, Treya was one-shot, she was killed. And in here as well, one of the clones, I forgot which one, I think Arc Trooper was taken out. So, you know, it's a fun team. It doesn't really get a lot of holds, but in most cases, when I was checking mine, you know, in many cases it took out 1 character because, you know, Relic Droideka can really nuke somebody. And, you know, you got a Preton there with Brood, and Poggle can give offensive boost as well as cleanse and things like that. It's a fun team. Now Newt, we all like to place our Newt on defense, but as you can see, the score is not that great. We just get a 1 held against some sort of first order team. But you know, it did give trouble to some of the teams here, 49 banners. So Newt is one of those teams, probably like a Grievous team, you know, everybody put on defense and doesn't really get a lot of holds. But you know, it can give you some trouble if you don't come equipped correctly. Alright guys, so these are some of the teams here that performed best for me. I listed all the teams that held at least one, so all other teams that I didn't list here never held a single defense. So you know, my Darth Revan, GG, Dooku, what else I was placing? Kylo Ren Unmasked. So all these guys didn't hold anything. But that doesn't mean that they're bad teams. It's just that people respect them. So especially free, it's always good to find those teams that people maybe, you know, underestimate them, and then you catch them off guard, especially there in the back zone. Alright guys, let me know in the comments below or on my Discord server if you find this kind of video and information useful, so I can update this in a week or two, or maybe also do an offensive review, show you what my teams did on offense, which ones were good, which ones not. Let me know, but until then, have fun, enjoy life, and may the RNG be with you, my friends.